Taewon closed his eyes in his small metal bed aboard the Taeguk Pioneer. The ship hummed quietly around him. Another day of fixing engines was done. His muscles ached from crawling through tight spaces and adjusting power cores. He pulled the thin blanket over himself and fell asleep within minutes. When he opened his eyes again, everything was wrong. The ceiling above him glowed with soft purple light. It looked like crystal, but it moved like water. Taewon sat up fast, his heart pounding. This was not his room. This was not his ship. The bed beneath him felt warm and alive. It seemed to be made of some kind of living metal that shifted under his weight. The room around him was enormous, at least 10 times bigger than his entire quarters on the Pioneer. Walls of crystal stretched up into darkness. Strange plants with glowing leaves grew from the floor without any soil. Taewon looked down at himself. He was wearing the same old sleeping shirt he went to bed in, but on his left wrist was a thick bracelet made of silver metal. Lights pulsed inside it like a heartbeat. He tried to pull it off. It would not move. What the hell? He whispered. A door opened. Taewon had not even seen a door in the crystal wall. 3 creatures walked in. They looked like insects that had learned to walk on 2 legs. Their bodies were covered in smooth black shells. Multiple eyes on their heads, all turned to look at him. They bowed low. "Royal consort," one of them said in perfect Korean. "You are awake. The queen will be pleased." "Royal, what?" Taewon stood up from the bed. "Where am I? Where's my ship?" "You are in the royal palace of Velith Prime," the creature said. Its voice had a strange echo to it. "Your vessel and crew are safe in the guest quarters. They are being well cared for." "Guest quarters?" Taewon felt his engineer mind kick in, pushing past the fear. He needed information. "How did I get here?" "I went to sleep on my ship." "You were brought here for the wedding ceremony, royal consort." "Wedding?" The word did not make sense. "I'm not married." "There's some mistake." The 3 creatures looked at each other. Their antennae moved in ways Taewon could not read. "There is no mistake," another creature said. "You are bound to Queen Lyra. The bracelet proves this. It cannot be removed except by death." Taewon looked at the bracelet again. The lights inside it pulsed faster now. He could feel it warm against his skin. This was insane. He was an engineer from Earth. He fixed engines. He did not marry alien queens. "I need to see my crew," he said. "Right now." "That can be arranged," the first creature said. "But first, the queen wishes to meet with you. She is waiting." Before Taewon could argue, the crystal wall opened again. The room beyond was even bigger. The creatures gestured for him to follow. Taewon took a breath. He was in an impossible situation. But humans had survived impossible situations before. He would figure this out. He walked into the great hall. The room was so large he could not see the other end. Pillars of crystal reached up into darkness. The floor beneath his bare feet felt smooth and warm. At the far end, on a throne that seemed grown from pure light, sat a figure. Taewon walked closer. His footsteps echoed in the huge space. The queen was not like anything he had ever seen. She was tall, maybe 3 meters high. Her body looked like it was made of crystal and light mixed together. She had a shape like a human woman, but her skin shifted and changed. One moment it looked solid. The next, it looked like pure energy. Her face was beautiful but alien. Her eyes glowed with white light. "Taewon," she said. Her voice was like music and thunder mixed together. She spoke Korean perfectly. "I am Lyra. We are married." He stopped a few meters from the throne. "With respect, I don't remember any wedding." "The wedding happened while you dreamed," Lyra said. She stood up from the throne. When she moved, light trailed behind her like smoke. It was not intentional, but it is binding. That makes no sense. My people are beings of energy and thought, Lyra explained. She walked down from the throne. Each step she took left glowing footprints that faded slowly. We do not reproduce as humans do. We bond through consciousness. When I touched your mind while you dreamed, the ancient law activated. We are now bound for life. Taewon's mind raced. Why were you in my dreams? I was dying, Lyra said simply. She stood in front of him now. Even this close, he could not tell if she was solid or not. A plague that kills my kind. I sent my consciousness out, searching for something, anything that could help. I found you. Found me doing what? Dreaming about an impossible problem. An engine that should not work, but you were making it work anyway. Your mind was so focused, so determined. When I touched it, you will stabilize the plague inside me. You saved my life without knowing it. And that married us. The moment our consciousness touched, yes. It is old magic, old law. The bracelet appeared on both of us at the same moment. Lyra raised her arm. On her wrist was a bracelet identical to his. We are bound now. What affects one affects the other. Taewon sat down on the floor. This was too much. Yesterday, he was fixing engine parts. Today he was married to a glowing alien queen. My crew, he said. I want to see them. I want proof they are safe. Of course, Lyra said. She gestured and a hologram appeared in the air. It showed Donghaean, Hannah, and Kijun sitting in a nice room. They looked confused but unhurt. They are guests. They are not prisoners. Neither am I? No, Lyra said. But we have a problem. My council does not approve of this marriage. They think humans are too primitive. They want to erase your memory and send you home. And you? I will die if they break the bond. And so will you. Lyra's glowing eyes met his. We must convince them that humans are worthy. That you are worthy. We have 10 days. Taewon stood up. He looked at this impossible alien queen. He looked at the bracelet on his wrist. He thought about his crew depending on him. He thought about how humans always found a way through impossible situations. Then we better get started, he said. The council room was full of angry, glowing beings. Taewon stood next to Lyra, feeling very small and very human. His crew stood behind him. Donghaean had his arms crossed. Hannah looked nervous. Kijun watched everything with the eyes of a soldier. Lord Vex stood at the center of the council. He was bigger than Lyra, his crystal body dark red instead of her white and gold. When he spoke, the whole room seemed to shake. This marriage is a mistake, Vex said. Humans are primitive creatures. They have barely left their own star system. They are made of meat and bone. They die in decades, not centuries. This insults our empire. The law is clear, Lyra said calmly. The bond was made. It cannot be broken without killing us both. Then perhaps both should die, Vex said. Several council members made sounds of agreement. Better than weakening our bloodline with this thing. Taewon felt anger rise in his chest. But Donghaean put a hand on his shoulder. The captain shook his head slightly. Not yet. There is another way, an older council member said. This one was blue crystal, with a voice like ice breaking. The ancient law has a provision. If the consort can prove they enhance the empire's prosperity, the marriage is validated. Prove how? Lyra asked. 3 trials, the blue council member said. Each one testing different aspects of worthiness. The consort has 10 days to complete all 3. Vex smiled. It was not a nice smile. I agree to this. Let the human try. When he fails, we erase his memory and send him home. The queen will accept a proper consort from our own people. And if I succeed? Taewon spoke for the first time. The room went quiet. All the glowing eyes turned to him. "If you succeed," the Blue Council member said, "the marriage stands. You become royal consort with all rights and privileges. Your people will be offered alliance with our empire." "Deal," Taewon said, before anyone could change their minds. "The first trial begins tomorrow," Vex said. "Our solar harvesting stations are failing. Billions depend on that energy. Fix them, human. If you can." The council dissolved into light. Only Lyra and the humans remained in the Great Hall. "They set you up to fail," Dong Hyen said. "Those harvesting stations use technology we have never seen before." "Then we better learn fast," Taewon said. Lyra took them to the harvesting station that night. It floated in orbit around Velith Prime's sun. The structure was huge, made of the same living crystal as everything else. Energy flowed through it like blood through veins. But something was wrong. Taewon could see it even without instruments. The crystal was cracking. Energy leaked out in dangerous bursts. "What changed?" he asked Lyra. "Nothing," she said. "That is the problem. The design is ancient. It has always worked this way." Taewon spent 6 hours studying the system. Hannah helped him run diagnostics. Kijun kept watch, not trusting Vex. Dong Hyen coordinated with the Velith engineers. Finally, Taewon saw it. "Your system is too perfect," he said. Lyra tilted her head. "I do not understand. Look at this." Taewon pointed to the energy flow readings. "The harvesting is 100% efficient. Every bit of solar energy gets captured, converted, and sent out. No buffer, no buffer. No margin for error." "Yes," Lyra said. "That is good design." "No, it's terrible design," Taewon said. "When the sun flares, you get massive energy spikes. Your system has nowhere to put that extra energy, so it feeds back into itself. That creates resonance. The resonance cracks the crystal. But how do we fix it?" One of the Velith engineers asked. Taewon grinned. "We make it imperfect." The Velith looked confused. Humans understood immediately. They spent 2 days building what Taewon called buffers. These were mechanical devices, not energy-based. They used spare parts from the Taiga Pioneer, old-fashioned metal and circuits. The Velith thought it looked ugly, but it worked. The buffers absorbed excess energy during spikes. They stored it temporarily in physical batteries. Then they released it slowly back into the system. It was inefficient. It was imperfect. It was exactly what the system needed. Taewon installed the first buffer. The cracking stopped immediately. Energy flow stabilized. The Velith engineers stared in shock. "How is this possible?" one asked. "Sometimes being imperfect is the most perfect solution," Dong Hyen said. They worked for 36 hours straight. Hannah calculated placement. Kijun helped with the heavy lifting. Dong Hyen managed the teams. Taewon designed each buffer custom for its location. When they finished, the harvesting network was producing 300% more energy than before. The entire planet below grew brighter as power flooded back into the cities. The council assembled. Even Vex looked surprised. "The first trial is complete," the Blue Council member announced. "The human has succeeded beyond expectations." Vex's red crystal body grew darker. "Luck. The next 2 trials will not be so easy." That night, Lyra took Taewon to a private garden. Real plants grew here, brought from 100 worlds. They sat by a fountain that flowed upward instead of down. "You saved billions today," Lyra said quietly. "I just applied basic engineering," Taewon said. "Your people are too advanced. You forgot that sometimes simple solutions work best." "We think in terms of perfection," Lyra said. "Energy, mathematics, pure thought. We have lost touch with the physical world. Is that why you need a human consort? Lyra looked at him. Her glowing eyes seemed softer. I did not choose you, Taewon. The bond chose us both. But I am beginning to see why. You think differently than we do. You see problems we cannot see. You find solutions we would never imagine. My crew helped, Taewon said. Yes, your loyalty to each other is another thing we have lost. Lyra reached out. Her hand touched his. It felt warm and tingly, like touching electricity. I am glad it was you I found in that dream. Taewon felt his face grow warm. We should focus on the next trial. Yes, Lyra said. The war game. You must face General Kale. He has never lost. Never? Not in 1,000 simulations. Taewon smiled. Then he has never fought humans before. Back in their quarters, Hana pulled Taewon aside. I found something, she whispered. In the station's logs. Someone has been sabotaging systems. Who? I cannot prove it yet. But the access codes point to Lord Vex. Taewon felt cold. He wants us to fail. More than that, Hana said. I think he wants Lyra dead. If you fail and the bond breaks, she dies. Then he can take power. Can you find proof? I am working on it. But Taewon, be careful. The next trial might be a trap. Taewon nodded. He looked out the window at the glowing city below. Somewhere out there, Vex was planning something. The war game would be dangerous, but humans had never backed down from a fight. They would not start now. The simulation room looked like the inside of a star. Walls of pure light surrounded them. Taewon stood with his crew in the center. Around them, the Veloth Council watched from floating platforms. General Kale appeared across from them. His crystal body was dark green, covered in what looked like armor made of solidified energy. He was a warrior, and it showed in every movement. The rules are simple, Kale said. His voice was sharp and clear. This is a military simulation. I command the defense. You command the attack. You must capture the central fortress within 2 hours. I have never lost this scenario. There is a first time for everything, Kijun said. Kale looked at the human soldier. Confidence. Good. You will meet it. The simulation began. The room transformed. They stood on the bridge of worship. Outside the windows, space filled with enemy vessels. A massive fortress hung in the distance, protected by layers of shields and weapons. Analysis, Donghayan said immediately. Hannah brought up tactical displays. 300 defense ships. Fortress has 6 shield layers. Weapon systems cover every approach angle. This is impossible. Show me Kale's past battles, Taewon said. They watched recordings at high speed. Every battle was the same. Kale used perfect mathematics. He calculated every move. His defenses were logical, efficient, unbeatable. He fights like a computer, Taewon said. He's better than any computer, Lyra said. She watched from a platform above them. He can predict millions of outcomes instantly. Then we will not be predictable, Taewon said. He turned to his crew. Remember Earth's military history. What did humans do when facing impossible odds? Donghayan smiled. We cheated. The humans launched their attack. But they did not do what Kale expected. Instead of careful tactics, they used chaos. Half their ships flew directly at the fortress at full speed. Kale's defenses moved to stop them. But the ships were decoys. They were set to self-destruct. While Kale focused on the suicide run, Kijun led a stealth team around the battle. They used an old human trick, hiding in the exhaust of destroyed ships. The debris field masked their signatures. Inefficient, Kale announced. You sacrificed too many resources. Resources we can afford to lose, Taewon replied. The suicide ships detonated early, far from the fortress. The explosions created massive energy fields. Kale's calculations went wild, trying to predict what would happen next. That was when Tae-Won ordered the real attack from a completely different angle. A small group of ships dove in from below, using the chaos as cover. They aimed for what looked like the strongest shield point. Every logical commander would defend it heavily, but Tae-Won had noticed something. The strongest point was also the most rigid. It could not adapt that the human ships did not try to break through. Instead, they fired everything they had at one spot. Not to break it, but to overload it. The shield did not fail, but it had to draw power from other sections to maintain strength. That created a weak point. Ki-jun's stealth team struck there. They punched through and landed on the fortress. Interesting, Kale said. But he did not sound worried. You are inside, but you cannot reach the core. I have 5,000 troops defending it. We do not need to reach the core, Tae-Won said. Hannah had been working this whole time. She had found something in the fortress design. Like the harvesting stations, it was too perfect. Every system connected to every other system for maximum efficiency. She launched a virus. Not a complicated one. A simple, stupid virus that did one thing. It made systems report false data. Suddenly, Kale's perfect calculations were based on wrong information. His troops moved to defend areas that were not under attack. His weapons fired at ships that were not there. This is cheating, one council member shouted. This is war, Dong-Hyeon said calmly. There are no rules in real combat. Kale tried to adapt. He was brilliant. He figured out the virus quickly. But while he was fixing it, the humans did something else unexpected. They stopped attacking. Complete stop. Every human ship just held position. Kale waited for the trap. He ran 1,000,000 calculations. Where would they strike? What was the plan? There was no plan. The humans were just waiting. What are you doing? Kale asked. Resting, Tae-Won said. We have 2 hours. We only used 40 minutes. Why rush? It was psychological warfare. Kale's perfect mind could not predict irrational behavior. The waiting drove his calculations into loops. When the humans finally attacked again, they did it wrong on purpose. They made obvious mistakes. They left openings. They sacrificed ships for no reason. Every mistake was different. None of them followed any pattern. Kale could not find the logic because there was no logic. Ki-jun led his team through the fortress using the strangest route possible. They went through waste systems. They crawled through power conduits that should have killed them. They took paths that made no sense. 40 minutes before time ran out, they reached the core. Kale still had 4,000 troops defending it. He moved them into perfect formation. Ki-jun did not attack. Instead, his team started singing. They sang an old Earth War song, loud and off-key. The sound echoed through the fortress. The Velith defenders did not know what to do. This was not in any combat manual. While they stood confused, Ki-jun's team walked right past them to the core and planted the capture. Flag. The simulation ended. The room returned to its normal light. Kale stood very still. The council was silent. I do not understand, Kale finally said. None of your tactics should have worked. They violated every principle of warfare. Human warfare is not about principles, Tae-Won said. It is about winning. You use chaos as a weapon, Kale said. You made the unpredictable your strategy. I have never faced anything like it. That is because you have never fought humans, Dong-Hyeon said. Kale walked up to them. He studied each human carefully. Then he bowed, something Tae-Won had never seen a Velith do. I request permission to study your tactics, Kale said. My empire has grown too comfortable with perfect calculations. We have forgotten that war is messy and strange. You have taught me something valuable today. The second trial is complete, the Blue Council member announced. The human has defeated our greatest general. Vex's crystal body turned almost black with anger. The third trial will not be so easy. The core is dying. No primitive technology can save it. We will see, Taewon said. That night, Hannah came to him with news. I found proof, she said. Vex has been poisoning the core. The same plague that attacked Lyra. He released it slowly over months. Why? If the core dies during your trial, he can blame you. Say your presence brought the plague. The council will demand your death. And Lyra's. Taewon felt cold. Can we prove this? Not yet. He covered his tracks well. But I am close. The trial is tomorrow. I know. Taewon found Lyra in her private chambers. She was meditating, her body pure light. You knew the third trial was a trap, he said. I suspected, Lyra admitted. But I could not prove it. Why did you not tell me? Because you would try to protect me. I need you to save the core. That is more important than my life. Nothing is more important than your life, Taewon said. The words surprised him. When had she become so important to him? Lyra's light grew brighter. You truly mean that? Yes, she moved closer. Her hand touched his face. It felt warm and electric. You are strange, Taewon. You make me feel things I have never felt. Things my people do not feel. What things? Hope, fear, joy. She paused. Love. Before Taewon could respond, alarms blared. The palace shook. The core, Lyra said. Vex has accelerated the plague. The trial begins now. The core chamber was deep below the palace. Taewon ran through crystal corridors with Lyra and his crew. The entire building shook. Power fluctuated. Lights flickered. They reached a massive door. Lyra placed her hand on it. The door opened to reveal something impossible. The core was a sphere of pure consciousness the size of a building. It floated in the center of a chamber carved from black crystal. Energy flowed through it like lightning. But now that energy was dark, corrupted. Black tendrils spread through the golden light like infection. The plague, Lyra whispered. It has taken half the core already. The council appeared around them, their bodies floating on platforms. This is your final trial, Vex said. His voice was full of false concern. The core is dying. If it fails, our entire empire loses power. Billions will die. Can you save it, human? Taewon studied the core. It was not like the harvesting stations or the war simulation. This was alive. It thought. It felt. I need to interface with it, he said. That will kill you, Lyra said quickly. The plague attacks consciousness. Your human mind cannot survive it. We do not have a choice. There is always a choice, Dong Hyen said. He put his hand onto Taewon's shoulder. But we are with you. Hannah and Kijun nodded. Lyra looked at them all. You would risk your lives for this? We are human, Kijun said simply. We do not abandon our own. Taewon approached the core. He could feel it pulling at his mind. The bracelet on his wrist glowed brighter. Through his bond with Lyra, he could sense the core's pain. How do I connect? He asked. Touch it, Lyra said. Open your mind. But Taewon, if the plague takes you, I will sever the connection myself. No, he said. We stay together. Whatever happens. He reached out and touched the core. Reality shattered. Taewon's consciousness exploded outward. Suddenly, he was everywhere. He could feel the thoughts of billions of Veloth across the empire. He could sense the flow of energy through every system. The core was not just a machine. It was the empire's collective mind, and it was dying. The plague moved through it like black fire. It consumed thoughts, memories, consciousness itself. Tae-Won felt it reach for him. Pain. Terrible pain. The plague tried to understand his human mind so it could destroy it. But his mind was different. Human consciousness was messy, chaotic. The plague could not find a pattern. Tae-Won remembered his dream, the one where Lyra first found him. He had been solving an impossible engine problem. Not through mathematics or perfect logic. Through trial and error. Through intuition. Through stubbornness. He used that same approach now. The plague tried to attack his logic. He thought about music instead. The plague tried to consume his memories. He remembered the taste of his mother's cooking. The plague tried to understand his structure. He thought about love, about fear, about hope. Every attack failed because human minds were not built on perfection. They were built on contradiction. But the plague was too strong. It started learning. It adapted to his chaos. Tae-Won felt himself fading. The core was pulling him in, consuming him along with everything else. Then he felt other minds join his. Donghain connected to the core. His consciousness was tactical, strategic. He started organizing Tae-Won's chaotic thoughts into patterns. Hannah connected next. Her mind was analytical, but creative. She found weak points in the plague's structure. Kijun was last. His consciousness was disciplined, controlled. He built barriers, buying them time. 4 human minds in the core. 4 different ways of thinking. This is impossible, Vex shouted from outside. Humans cannot survive in the core. But they were not just surviving. They were fighting back. Tae-Won understood now. The plague could destroy one mind easily, but it could not understand 4 minds working together in completely different ways. Each human thought differently. Each one approached problems from unique angles. Together, they were unpredictable. Hana found the plague's weakness. It was too efficient, too perfect. Like everything else in Velith technology, Tae-One had an idea. It was crazy. It might kill them all. We do not fight it, he said to the others through their connection. We overwhelm it. They opened their minds completely. Every memory, every emotion, every random thought. They poured their entire human experience into the core. The plague tried to process it all. Tried to find patterns. Tried to consume it, but it could not. Human consciousness was too contradictory. They remembered joy and pain at the same time. They held hope while feeling fear. They created beauty from chaos. The plague could not exist in that environment. It required order to function. The human minds provided none. The infections started breaking down. But something else happened. The core began to change. It absorbed the human consciousness like water absorbing ink. The strict, perfect Vela thoughts mixed with messy human emotions. The core started to dream. What are you doing? Lyra screamed from outside. You are changing it. We are healing it, Tae-Won said. The plague died. Consumed by its inability to understand humanity. The core pulsed with new energy. Golden light mixed with rainbow colors. It was no longer purely logical. It now contained emotion, creativity, chaos. It was alive in a new way. Tae-Won tried to disconnect. He could not. The strain had been too much. His consciousness was dissolving into the core. He felt Lyra enter the connection. Her mind wrapped around his like protective light. I will not lose you, she said. The bond will not survive this, Tae-Won said. He could feel himself fading. Let me go. Never. She pulled him back. Used their marriage bond as an anchor. But it was not enough. He was too far gone. Then the core itself helped. This new, changed core that now carried a piece of humanity. It recognized Tae-Won as part of itself. It pushed him back toward his body. All 4 humans disconnected at once. They collapsed on the floor of the chamber. The core blazed with power, brighter than ever before. The entire palace lit up. Across the empire, systems that had been failing for years suddenly worked perfectly. But more than that, Velith across the empire suddenly felt something new. Emotions, dreams, creative thoughts. The core had been healed. And it had been transformed. Taewon opened his eyes. Lyra held him. Her crystal face was wet. He did not know Velith could cry. "You saved us," she said. "You saved everything." The council stared in shock. Even Vex was silent. Hana stood up weakly. In her hand was a data crystal. "Before we went in the core, I finished my investigation," she said. "I have proof that Lord Vex released the plague. He tried to kill the core. He tried to kill all of you." She threw the crystal to the blue council member. He caught it. Light flowed from his eyes as he read the data. "This is true," he said. His voice was cold as ice. "Lord Vex has committed treason." Vex's body turned black. "The humans are corrupting us. The core is contaminated with their primitive emotions. I did what was necessary." "You tried to destroy our empire," Lyra said. She stood, and suddenly she was not soft or kind. She was a queen. "You are exiled forever." Vex screamed and attacked. But General Kale was faster. The warrior grabbed Vex and dragged him away. The blue council member looked at Taewon and his crew. "The third trial is complete," he said. "You have done more than save the core. You have given our people something we lost long ago. The ability to dream. The ability to feel. The ability to create." "The marriage is validated," another council member said. "Humanity is officially our ally." Taewon barely heard them. He was too tired. Donghayan caught him before he fell. "Rest," Lyra said gently. "You have earned it." As Taewon drifted towards sleep, he smiled. Humans had done the impossible again. 3 days passed before Taewon could stand without help. His mind had been stretched too far by connecting with the core. Lyra stayed with him the whole time. She learned to make human food, though the results were strange. She told him stories about Velith history. She held his hand while he slept. On the 4th day, he was well enough to attend the council meeting. The Great Hall was different now. The Velith moved differently. They talked to each other in new ways. Some were laughing. Taewon had never heard a Velith laugh before. "The core's transformation is spreading," the blue council member explained. "Every Velith connected to it is experiencing emotions for the first time. It is chaos, but also wonderful. Some are angry," another council member said. "They say the humans have corrupted us." "Let them be angry," Lyra said. "Anger is an emotion too. They will learn to balance it with joy and hope." General Kale stepped forward. "I speak for the military. The humans have proven themselves beyond any doubt. I request formal alliance." "Agreed," said most of the council. "Earth will need to approve," Donghayan said. "We cannot speak for our whole species." "We understand," Lyra said. "We will send ambassadors to Earth. Taewon will lead them." "Me?" Taewon said. "You are royal consort now, and you understand both our peoples." She smiled. It was the first time he had seen her truly smile. "Besides, I believe your family will want to meet me." Taewon thought about his mother's reaction to him bringing home an alien queen. He laughed. "What is funny?" Lyra asked. "I will explain later." Over the next week, preparations began. Earth sent reply messages. They were confused but interested. The idea of alliance with a powerful alien empire was too good to refuse. Hana spent her time teaching Velith engineers about human technology. They were fascinated by imperfection. They started designing hybrid systems mixing Velith Energy with Human Mechanics. Kijun trained the Velith military in human tactics. General Kale attended every lesson. He took notes on everything. Dong Hyan worked with the council on trade agreements. He had a natural talent for diplomacy. Taewon spent time with Lyra. They walked through the crystal gardens. They talked about everything. She asked him about Earth, about human culture, about what it meant to be mortal. Do you fear death? She asked one evening. Sometimes, Taewon said. But fearing death makes life more precious. I will live for thousands of years, Lyra said quietly. You will live for decades. That frightens me. We will have those decades together. That is enough, is it? She turned to him. Her glowing eyes were sad. I will watch you grow old. I will watch you die. I will continue without you. Taewon took her hands. They felt warm and solid now. She was learning to maintain a more physical form. You are thinking about this wrong, he said. Humans die. That is true. But we make every moment count because of it. We love harder. We dream bigger. We fight impossible odds because we know time is limited. Teach me, Lyra said. Teach me to live like a human. I will. If you teach me to dream like a Velith. They kissed. It was strange and electric and perfect. The wedding ceremony happened 2 weeks later. This time, Taewon was awake for it. They held it in the Great Hall. But they changed everything. Half the ceremony used Velith traditions. Half used human traditions. Taewon wore a traditional Earth suit. Lyra wore a dress made of light. His crew stood with him. The council stood with her. General Kale was surprisingly emotional. The Blue Council member officiated. When they said their vows, every Velith in the Empire felt it through the core. Billions of beings experienced their first truly joyful moment. The party afterward was chaos. Velith tried human dancing and failed hilariously. Humans tried Velith meditation and fell asleep. Food from 100 worlds filled endless tables. Music played that mixed electronic tones with human instruments. Taewon's mother called from Earth. The communication was delayed by distance, but her happiness was clear. She cried when she saw Lyra. She said she looked forward to meeting her daughter-in-law in person. Lyra did not understand family the way humans did, but she was learning. 5 years passed. Taewon stood on the bridge of a new ship. It was a hybrid design, mixing Velith crystal with human steel. The Taeguk Explorer was 3 times the size of the old Pioneer. It carried a mixed crew of humans and Velith. They were exploring a region of space neither species had visited, looking for new worlds, new allies, new challenges. Dong Hyan was captain now. He commanded with the same calm efficiency he always had. Hana was chief science officer. Kijun led security and trained Velith soldiers in human tactics. And Taewon was the ship's chief engineer and Earth's ambassador to the Velith Empire. Lyra appeared on the bridge through a hologram. She was back at the palace, ruling her empire. But they talked every day. The bond between them was stronger than ever. Any discoveries? She asked. 3 new planets today, Taewon said. One has ruins. Ancient civilization. Interesting. When will you return home? 2 months. I miss you. I miss you too. The hologram faded. Taewon smiled. 5 years of marriage to an alien queen. It still felt surreal sometimes. The Velith Empire had changed dramatically. They now valued creativity and emotion as much as logic. Art flourished. New music, new architecture, new ways of thinking. They called it the Great Awakening. Some of it was messy. Some Velith struggled with emotions. But they were learning. Earth had changed too. The Alliance brought technology humans had never imagined. Medicine that could cure any disease. energy systems that powered cities without pollution, ships that could cross the galaxy. In return, humans taught the Veloth about imperfection, about finding beauty in chaos, about living life fully because it was temporary, and most importantly, the Veloth learned to dream. The core now had billions of dreams flowing through it. Some Veloth dreamed in color for the first time. Some dreamed about impossible things. Some dreamed about becoming better. A new generation of Veloth was being born. They were different from their parents. They felt emotions from birth. They created art. They asked questions. They were, in many ways, more human. The galaxy would never be the same. Tae-Won walked to the observation deck. Through the window, stars stretched to infinity. He thought about the night he went to sleep in his cramped quarters. The night that changed everything. If someone had told him he would wake up married to an alien queen, he would have laughed. But here he was, living an impossible life, proving once again that humans could adapt to anything. June found him there. Thinking about the old days? The soldier asked. Yeah, remember when we were just a small exploration crew? Now we are a bridge between two species, Ki-Jun said. Strange how life works. We almost died several times. Almost only counts in horseshoes, Ki-Jun said. It was an old Earth saying. We survived. We thrived. We did the impossible. We did, Tae-Won agreed. The ship's computer announced a new discovery. A signal from deep space. Possibly another intelligent species. Dong Hyan's voice came over the intercom. Tae-Won, we need you on the bridge. This signal is strange. Might need your unique perspective. Tae-Won smiled. His unique perspective. That was a nice way of saying his messy human thinking. He headed back to the bridge. There would be new challenges, new impossibilities to overcome, new problems that needed human creativity to solve. That was fine. Humans were good at impossible situations. As he walked, he touched the bracelet on his wrist. It still glowed with soft light. The bond with Lyra would last his lifetime. And through the core, a part of him would live on even after death. He had saved an empire. He had changed a species. He had married a queen. And it all started because he went to sleep one night. Humanity had proven once again what made them special. Not strength or technology or perfection, but adaptability, creativity, the stubborn refusal to give up when faced with the impossible. The galaxy was learning that humans were not just survivors. They were thrivers, and they were just getting started. The end.